One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What's up, everyone? You got yourself muted, AB.
What up, though? What up, though? 7 days, we're back again for another episode of Dominant Effect. Marsh Bishop, we got Mike Ball. We got a pretty good show for you tonight. We're gonna jump into. Apologies for the delayed startup. We was figuring out the last little bits and pieces before we crank this up for y'all to make sure we give y'all all the information that we could possibly give out on this particular subject. So it should be pretty good.
It's a big one too.
Yeah. So here's a question. What if I told you that America's biggest creditors has quietly been pulling out of the U.S., out of our debt? And most people have no idea what that means for their future. Now, China's been reducing its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds, the same bonds that literally fund our government. We've talked about that several times. And when someone holds your debt and starts selling it, that kind of changes everything. Now, China's been quietly reducing its holdings of the U.S. Treasury bonds. Been doing it for probably about a year and a half now that we've noticed in large sums that they've been selling back. And that move could reshape this whole global financial system. Now, for decades, America's rallied on foreign buyers to fund that debt. And China is one of the biggest ones. But now the relationship is changing. Dealing with BRICS, SWIFT, CHIP, a lot of other things that's going on right now. And that ripple effect hits interest rates, inflation, gold, and the future of the US dollar. So in this episode tonight, we're going to break down a couple things. How the US debt system really works, why China became America's biggest creditor, why China is now selling US Treasury, the hidden role of Basel III in gold, which a lot of you probably have no idea what Basel III is, but we're going to jump into it. Whether the dollar is losing its global dominance and what it means for your money, your debt, and your future. This isn't fear bait. This isn't fear mongering. This is understanding the real power shifts that's happening quietly behind the scenes. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Now, before we go into what's going on right now, probably need to touch back on a little bit of the history of this, so that way you can kind of understand the whole thing of this. So, and we kind of want to hit on how China became the biggest holder of U.S. Treasuries in the first place. So, after China's trade boom back in the early 2000s, massive American imports meant that China accumulated dollars from exported profits. And to keep its currency competitive and resilient throughout these years, China began buying U.S. Treasury bonds, essentially lending money back to the U.S. government. And that helped in a couple ways. It absorbed the U.S. dollar inflows. It kept the yuan from appreciating too fast. And it provided liquidation and safety for the reserves. The platform continued for years, and China's reserves basically soared after that. But China's holdings peaked around 2013 at about 1.32 trillion. But since then, it's gradually been reducing its U.S. Treasury bonds. And by late 25, the holdings fell down between 688 to 730 billion.
Damn. And how many trillion was it originally, you said?
It was 1.32 trillion.
Right. Wow.
That was in 13. Now, at the end of 25, it had dropped down to 688, between 688 to 730 billion. And it hadn't been
crazy
that low.
Because bonds are usually 10% per year, or 5%, 7% each year, or whatever. So for there to be any reduction is a big deal.
Right. And it hadn't been that low since right around 2008, 2009. Now, the question you may ask is that why does this matter? Okay, because China was once the largest foreign holder of U.S. debt. Now it's behind Japan and the U.K., which is a major power shift, how China manages these reserves. But the question is, why are they selling? And the answer to that would be what you call, let me see, what would be the name? I would say more like a strategic diversification, because China wants to influence the reliance of the U.S. in these treasuries to avoid being exposed to the rival currency and the whole political leverage part of it. But the geopolitical tariffs, the sanctions, raise concern that the U.S. assets could be frozen in a crisis. And that makes Beijing trying to observe this in a different light. So China's putting more money into things like European government bonds, U.S. agency bonds that's similar to credit but has higher yields, and also gold and other assets such as silver, platinum.
Right. By proxy. Yep.
Hmm. And this all affects the risk and yield strategy, but it's not like an imminent attack. They're slowly putting it back. And the reason why they're slowly doing it is because if they do it all in like one big lump sum, yes, it would affect us, but it also crash them.
Right. That's what most people are not connecting, that they don't necessarily want to do that to us because that would crash them too.
Right.
Right.
So they're gradually doing it. So when China or any one of these big countries start reducing those treasury holdings, your bond prices fall, your interest rates rise, and your borrowing costs here in the U.S. is going to increase. But it's just part of how that global capital flows, that back and forth. I think one of the biggest takeaways here is that China isn't going to go nuclear, like dumping debt. They can't afford to.
Right.
They're like strategically reallocating those reserves to kind of slow. It's like a slow, deliberate thing, and then watch the market and see how the market fluctuates behind what they're doing.
It seems like they're dumping bonds and kind of gravitating more towards the metals, gold, silver, around the world, not just China. But China is a leader in all of that, of course.
Right. You notice just the other day they put a band, a silver band in China, where they're not letting any silver leave China.
Yes, I heard about that.
And
That's
they've
a big
also
deal.
right, it is. It's a huge deal, because not only did they do that, but they've also been talking to Mexico, because Mexico has one of the biggest steel reserves in the world, trying to get them to do the same thing.
Really?
Because
I didn't even know that.
because if that happens, then you really putting a crunch on everybody, because that's where a lot of these, just about everybody, was getting silver from Mexico. You put a halt on that, now you got to squeeze. You basically hoarding what you have and trying to rack up as much as you can get from all these other places, which
Wow.
once again jacks those prices up, just like we've been seeing silver prices and gold prices been spiking, for weeks now.
Well, we're gonna get some from Venezuela. We're gonna get some from Greenland, so we'll be all right. No, I'm just fucking
Yeah,
around.
so they say. Um, so why does China does it? Why do they continue to? And if you notice, even with back in the end part of December, when we had the big silver hike, where silver just jacked
The
up.
original, from this time frame, yeah.
Right, because there was a there was a phone call made from the United States to China, basically telling them don't hike up the prices during this time, because China doesn't celebrate Christmas. Everybody was going to be off here,
Right.
and I don't know why they thinking that, okay, we're going to tell them not to do it, and so in turn they're not going to do it. That's exactly what they did. But they put a cap. Well, they called themselves putting a cap, to where, like, if it hit a certain amount, I think it was $73. If it hit that amount, it would automatically shut down everything here and wouldn't let it go above it.
Right.
So what happened? It hit 72. It jumped 73 completely, hit 74, and kept going. It
didn't
jumped
work
completely over the cap. Right.
Yeah, this has happened now, where they keep doing these corrections and all these shutdowns, and whether Comex shut whatever, and it's just amazing watching the resilience right now in this current time, how silver is being treated, and gold, of course, but silver especially. They keep trying to do these corrections, and it keeps flattening out, kind of going down a little bit, and then it just spikes up, and these guys can't handle it. They just can't at this point.
Exactly. Now part of China's reserve involves supporting the yuan as a global settlement currency, which they've
Right.
been trying to do, and reducing their dependence on the dollar. And that trend, known as that's where the whole de-dollarization term came from, it's been ongoing globally and not just in China.
Shit, that might be me. I don't know. He'll be back,
It's been,
folks.
it's been
There you
several.
are.
It's been yeah, I've seen it. We got a storm going on over here right now. So
Me too. Me too. I was
yeah,
expecting it. I was expecting it for me. That's why I knew.
yeah, it's lightning and thundering pretty good out there right now. So if it does that again, guys, bear with us. We got a little weather going on right now. But a lot of those nations that they've been talking to are now part of BRICS, which in those situations, what they're trying to do is basically have their currencies be the primary currency, but they have so much of that currency backed on gold. So I think under BRICS it's supposed to be at least 40% of everyone's currency is supposed to be backed up on the gold.
Wow, I didn't know that. From
Yeah,
on a global standpoint.
yeah, just for the ones that's in BRICS, the ones that's coming into
Oh,
BRICS. That's one of their prerequisites is that they have to
I
be
didn't know
able
that.
to have enough gold to
To
be
even
backed at
enter.
least 40% of their money.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's actually a really cool stat about BRICS that I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So gold and certain European bonds act as like safe havens that are kind of less entangled in US Treasury. So this growing of the Chinese gold reserves is reported to be like purchases that reflect that shift. So the more gold that they can bring in, they can basically what they're trying to do is put their money straight up on a gold standard.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to get all these
Well,
other nations that's involved in that to be able to do as well.
it seems like it's not just the U.S. dollar, though. I mean, yes, in particular, because that's what's going to affect us the most. But on a grand scale, it seems like all these countries that are BRICS nations and all that. It seems like that they don't even have a super amount of faith in their own currency either. They're doing the exact same thing where they're rushing for gold and silver right now. Everyone is. So I think that's a high tail sign for everybody. You know what I mean? That's a big sign. Copy what they're doing, essentially.
Right, right. Let me ask you a question right quick.
Sure.
So do you think China is selling US Treasury bonds as like a financial attack?
No, I think they're hedging their bets at this point. I think that they're looking at well, if you add up not just what the U.S. dollar is, but then you add up tariffs, you add up sanctions. Now, if you're using the U.S. dollar, you're limited to the way that the U.S. is going to allow you to use that dollar. So there's a lot of limitations to our dollar essentially, and so I understand why they would be hedging their bets for a financial reason just alone. But they're of course going to need to be able to have a different subsect of money to be able to do the things that they want because the United States is not going to allow them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I just I think it's more of like a slow strategic diversification.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they just slowly pull away and then as they pulling away from this end, they're growing that end. So
Right.
you're gonna get that so like the basic borrowing cost over time would just kind of lessen US leverage on a lot of this, you know.
Right.
And so you know back in December we were actually in what they call a quantitative tightening where they wasn't printing out so much money and they were able to write off so many treasury yields and be able to, so it was less money being circulated which made everything a little bit tighter. You know,
But
the interest rates.
they tried to bring down interest, right? Well, not just interest, but just inflation in general, right?
Right, right. So when you tighten it up and you're not putting out that much, you're not printing out that much money, then you can kind of manage it a little bit more. I mean, it still will be hard to do though, based on the fact that you're trying to tighten this end, but you spend it on this end. You know, so are you really helping the situation? You're really not.
Right.
Um, but now I think as of December 10th, they moved from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing.
Easing, correct.
Which means right now they printing money like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? They printing it out of thin air. And by you doing that and putting all this extra money out, you're dropping down the actual value of the dollar.
Well, I have a graph that I actually made this morning from January of 2025 to January of 2026, looking at the U.S. dollar purchasing power, gold and silver purchasing power, which is a gold line as well as a silver line, showing the differences. And here it is. Check it out. I'll bring down the banner real quick. As you guys can see, the blue line is the U.S. dollar, which is going down. It was reset. Everything reset at 0%. As you guys can see at the top there, baseline equals 0%. And the U.S. dollar is going down below zero, as you guys can see. And look at the purchasing power of gold, which is the gold line, and then silver, which is the green line. That's just telling you guys right there exactly the numbers that you guys should all be paying attention to at this point.
Mm-hmm. Now, when we go, let me ask you this before we go any further.
Sure.
Because I'm gonna jump over into this Basel III. So if China sells U.S. debt, why doesn't the U.S. just buy it back?
Well, off the top of my head, just off of what I will answer on that is that they can just print unlimited money. Why would they buy anything back?
Close, because you're actually about halfway there.
Okay.
Halfway there.
Right on.
So the U.S. buys a massive amount of its own debt through the Federal Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with doing that is that means that you have to print more money, which can automatically
so you
fuel
have
inflation.
to. Damn. So that's like a double whammy.
Right. So you're going to fuel inflation and you're going to weaken the dollar by doing that. So the foreign buyers help keeps that borrowing cheaper. So when they step back a little bit, the cost eventually shows up in higher interest rates, basically for everybody. But that keeps the inflation down, and it keeps the dollar from weakening more if you get them to buy it instead of you having to turn around and buy it back.
Which you're admitting that you lost that kind of situation, that position, which is not a good. I understand.
Right. So like a couple of weeks ago when you had the thing dealing with the silver, there was a bank. They haven't released who that bank was that went bankrupt, but the Fed had to go and bail it out.
Mm-hmm.
And there was several other institutions that they had to bail out because with it jumping that cap, and they had to end up changing the margins, and then that money had to be collected within 24 hours.
See, it's crazy to me that they could do any of this without labeling the organization that is taking U.S. dollars. You know what I mean? I just don't understand how we can bail these companies out. Meanwhile, we're not being transparent with what companies are being bailed out.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Right. So we're going to talk about this Basel III. And I know that when I get to talking about this, a lot of people are not going to have a clue what it is I'm talking about. So I'm going to try to simplify this as much as possible, so that way everybody can understand exactly what it is this is,
even
because it's actually important.
Right. And something like this, Basel III, for instance, what he's about to get into, I recently just learned within the last week really what that is. So definitely an interesting thing that must be pointed out on this topic.
So we're going to jump into this Basel III, and like I said, I'm going to try to break this down as easy as possible. Throw out a couple analogies or whatever so you can understand exactly what this is. So imagine the global financial system is like a neighborhood of houses. And for years, the banks allowed you to build your house using cheap materials, cheap lumber, cheap roofing materials, whatever. Thin walls, weak foundations, because everyone assumed that the weather would stay calm and you didn't need the more expensive, high-priced
structure.
Stuff. So you use quarter-inch drywall instead of 3/4 inch or half-inch. You know what I mean? You could use 10-year shingles as opposed to getting 20-year shingles, stuff like that. Okay, being able to build these houses and make them and do it cheaper.
On baseline, they can't really withstand shit though, right?
Right. So back in 2008, that was proved wrong because the storm hit and all those houses collapsed. So Basel III is you can say they're like the building inspectors coming back and saying, okay, from now on, you need stronger walls, you need deeper foundations, you need to use actual real wood, using 2x6s instead of 2x4s, or
right, some cheap plywood, super cheap.
Right.
Cheap. Yeah, exactly. You need to bring this up to this quality now.
Right. Okay. So let's go with like your paper money, your paper access. That's like cardboard. And gold and silver are actual real reserves that are like concrete.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Good analogy.
Right. So the reason this matters now is because the inspectors, which is Basel III, they aren't just warning you, they're enforcing these rules because another storm is coming.
Right. And the central banks are not signing for any of this up. They're actually, their opinion on any of this is irrelevant. And now this was forced from a different aspect of auditing, essentially.
Right. So they basically like they're like the weatherman telling you that a storm is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And
big time.
You got to prepare before the storm comes. Like hurricane comes, everybody board up your windows and seek higher shelter or leave town or whatever, because there's something coming. And that's basically what Basel III does. And that was born right after the 2008 crisis. It was like a regulatory overhaul designed to prevent these banks from collapsing. And they put in things like you had to have higher capital, more liquid and stable access, better stress buffers. That now this applied internationally to all the major banks, not
all
just
of them.
Right,
right,
all
not
the
just the
major
United
banks.
States.
Right, not just the U.S., everywhere. So so under the latest rules that they just put in place, and it actually went into effect Monday. Physical gold.
That was a huge day for metals. Just got to point that out. Geeking.
Right. Because you notice gold and silver shot up right after they announced this.
Big time.
But when they announced it, you notice all the news sections didn't talk about this.
It's now, not in their interest.
Right. So like if you was like on a financial program or whatever, you heard them talk about it. But on actually on CNN, Fox, they didn't even talk
Of
about
course
this.
not. Of course not. It works
Um,
against the banks. It works against the institutions. It works against everything, actually, because we work off of debt. We work off of interest, and gold and silver doesn't do that. So, yeah.
so what they passed on Monday is that physical gold is officially treated as like a tier one high quality liquid asset,
What does
meaning it
that
could
mean,
be
though?
right, meaning it could be counted like cash in central bank reserves. Now that's big, that's huge, because it increases the attractiveness of real gold holdings in these
Right.
banks, and it reduces the incentive to hold dollar assets simply because they're liquid. You don't have to have that much dollars as long as you have the gold to back it up,
Right.
back
And
up what you have.
now the way that they're classifying is what you're pointing out right now is with gold, though. Now there is no more like, hey, we've got this on paper. We've got promises. We've got this. We've got that. No, no, no. None of that handshake matters. It needs to be in your vault right now. That's all that matters.
Right,
What do you have right now? That's what matters. Do you hold it?
right.
If you don't hold it, you don't own it.
Right. So by doing that, it pushed these global financial systems closer to having real hard access. You know what I mean? Having physical gold in their banks. Now, but Basel III also makes these securities and and paper gold less attractive compared to physical.
Right.
So they're basically setting this up to where these banks have to have a certain amount of gold in their possession for the money that they say they have,
Right. Right.
which is kind of sort of like what it was when you had the actual gold standard.
Right.
Because
But
you
now
had,
this is detrimental to these people, though. Detrimental. Let's see how they survive this, honestly, because I don't see a lot of this working out for their favor.
now I'm just now hearing about this Basel III. I didn't even know it even existed until here recently.
Same.
But then come to find out, this has been going on back since 74.
What? So they've
Yeah.
been working on Basel 1, Basel 2, Basel 3 kind of thing? Is that
No. It's always been Basel III,
Oh, really?
but it's
Interesting. I didn't
been,
know that.
but it's actually been in existence dating back past right at 1974.
So what was it, like a bill that they were trying to get passed or something? Like what how's that work, you know?
No, what it was used to um to reshape bank balance sheets. So like the newest phase that they're doing now, it puts physical gold back into the regulatory spotlight in a way not seen since Nixon dropped off the gold standard, which basically
Right.
what they're doing is bringing that gold standard back
Interesting.
without saying it's the gold standard.
Without it actually being tied.
Exactly.
I understand. Real quick, I got to shout out. We got Department of Numismatics, Mr. Boulay, coming in. By the way, Alabama's finest, saying making precious metals great again for $10, man. I very much appreciate that. Absolutely, you know the deal.
Well, we've been talking about that for months now.
Yes,
It's having what you can physically hold in your hand is gonna mean everything.
yeah. Actually, the reason why I collect and stack myself now is actually because of you. You know what I mean? So I gotta tip my hat off to you for getting me involved. So I mean, someone like yourself is super. You've been watching this because the banks, all the major institute, everything in the United States, for instance, and the world hate it because they don't work off of interest and debt. And that's a threat. That's always going to be a threat. And I think people are finally waking up People like me, my age range, my generation, the generation that's younger than me, I think they're a little bit ahead of the times because of shows like this. And I can't thank you guys enough that got the knowledge and don't gatekeep. It's awesome.
Yeah, see, and another good thing about the gold that everybody likes is gold doesn't rely on another country's promise to pay, and it can't be frozen in sanctions.
Right. That's
So
right.
a trust and paper access, paper dollars, like I said, it slowly erodes. Gold becomes a neutral reserve.
Because it's universal. You can't. It's not just the United States. You
Right.
know, it's not
Right.
just our currency. That this is a world currency.
Right. Right. And it's especially good for countries that has like long-term geopolitical uncertainties. So that helps them. So
Right.
like Argentina, African nations, Venezuela.
Sure.
When when Argentina, they had that big crash here not too long ago.
Right. And we bailed them out for their money, their
Gave
peso.
them
We
the
bought
40,
their peso out.
right? Gave them the 40 billion to
Right.
bail it out. I told you about when I went on Wise, and I went on there and just bought some just to
No, I
just to
didn't.
see.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so I went on Wise, and Wise, you can go on there, you can take US currency and you can switch it over and buy like other forms of currency all around the world. So I just used a small amount. I just used $20.
Sure. Why the hell
Just
not? It's
right.
like a
Just
stock that you can play.
well, not really a stock, but you can actually purchase that currency.
So do you get it in hand or is it like a paper or whatever?
No, it's on the. I mean, it's all on a on an app or whatever. I mean, you
Right.
can right.
Understood.
You can actually go there and cash it out, whatever. But
Sure.
you can
But that
but
you
you
can
have
buy
it.
world currencies though. That's cool.
Right. You can buy any currency you want on Wise. So I
Wow.
went on there and I spent $20. Now that $20 US ended up getting 28,614 pesos in Argentine.
Wait,
Pesos.
how many pesos?
28,000
Wow, for $20, man. That's so crazy.
on $20. That's
Yeah.
how far or how low it dropped.
Right. Now,
That you
now
can-
what's it worth now though?
You know what? I don't even know. I have to go on there and look.
I bet you
I
made
don't
your
even
money
know.
back. I bet
I
you
don't
tripled
even
your
know.
money.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know if that bailout even worked on that. I don't know.
Yeah, you should go check that.
Yeah, I just went on there just to see, like, okay, if I spent $20, how much could I get? And it showed.
Yeah,
I'm
no
like,
Ken. You're like, oh, dude, I'm just gonna get it. Fuck it.
right. It's $20. Bing.
Oh, that's great. You got to report back to us and let us know next week.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
I'm gonna have to go on there and actually look and see if it's changed.
That's
since
funny.
then.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this Basel III, and we're going to talk about how it affects the global power as well as the dollar's role in that. So the dollar has a reserve status, and since World War II era, the U.S. dollar has been like the primary global currency. That role formalized under different systems and mainstreamed after Nixon ended the dollar and gold standard back in 71. But here's the trend behind that. The share of global reserves held in dollars has fallen over the decades. And a lot of these countries are diversifying into non-dollar assets, which is such as euro, gold, and silver, as part of their whole de-dollarization. Now China has been reducing the Treasury holdings. That's just one piece of it. Now the global holdings overall are still very large. That's well above $9 trillion. And that's with Japan and UK being like the key players of that.
Right.
So you have over $9 trillion in Treasury bonds that's floating that all these other countries done bought.
These motherfuckers ain't gonna see that shit back.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
So even with China selling it, it's not significantly destructive. They only held, was it 1.32, and then they dropped down
Originally, right.
between 688 and 730 now. But you still have,
who's buying it from them? I don't understand who's buying it from them. You know, when they sell it, who's buying?
You know what? That's a good question.
Like, who the hell's buying this shit?
That's a good question. A lot of it when they're selling it, they don't sell it to, from what I've gathered on here, they don't necessarily sell it to other countries. They sell it back to you.
Oh, so you are losing out every time when you buy it back, because now you're accepting defeat on that position again, like I said, and you're getting the double whammy of not only does inflation go up, but that's a bad position.
Exactly. So you got to print out this money over here and give them this money here to buy back the debt that they had originally bought from you. Yeah, that's that whole back and forth thing. So when you lower these treasuries, it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna push the interest rates up, because the U.S. has to have a higher return in order to attract those buyers to come back again to continue to buy those
in the future
treasuries.
Right.
Right. So that's the problem that they have now. So that's why this whole Basel III kicks in, because now it's saying, okay, rule change. Every bank around the world now, you have to have a certain amount of gold to account for the money that you have in your bank. And that's it. So you can't go in there and say we have, like Citibank says, okay, we got $700 million. Well, you got to have $700 million in gold, or you do not have 700 million.
But when you flip this script overnight for these banks, and they ain't got the position they claim they got, you break the system breaks.
Well, I'm sure that it's not going to be the way they have this set up. I'm pretty sure, like, the rule may have went into effect, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to give all these banks time to be able to.
Well, right now the big number is February 1st.
Right.
That's the big number right this second. And so if by February 1st and shit's implemented, to the point that they have to have the gold that backs the money, a lot of these banks are going to break.
Right. And they're going to end up merging with other banks is what they're going to end up doing.
Yeah, they're going to be consumed by other ones. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we don't see a ton of corporate bailout or these or government bailouts. I really hope that we don't do that, because it's going to be a waste of money. I think we should let them fucking die out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's I think with Basel, it basically, to make a long story short, it basically forces these banks to hold these gold assets. You know what I mean? Which technically just kind of just brings it right back into the gold standard without them actually saying we're going back to the gold standard. But it's making it global, not just in the US, not just in China. It's going to make it everywhere. So to make sure that these banks can actually survive that. You know, you're gonna have a couple of different things going on. You're gonna have some liquidity freezes. You're gonna have some sanctions. You're gonna have crashes. But this could also lead to a war over
Oh,
gold.
very easily, super easily.
So I figured
I'm glad.
between
I'm actually glad that you brought that up because that's something that I guess maybe I didn't think right away, but you're 100% right.
yeah, because you know a lot of these countries are not gonna have that stockpile like that.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of where a big bank take little bank. Remember I used and that's gonna be their way of doing it. You know what I mean? You got all these smaller ones right here and you got these big ones and they're gonna just start swallowing up the small ones until you only have a couple major banks that's basically gonna run everything. So you cut out all the small ones, all the little small mom and pops and all that. I mean, you're gonna cut all those little small banks out. You know, the little banks that just in your town, but you don't see them nowhere else. You know what I mean? They're gonna wipe those out. Um, the but since it was going on back in '74, um, I
When
guess
we got off
probably
the gold standard, right?
right. But it was like they had it set up then,
Wow.
but it wasn't fully implemented everywhere until now.
Right. And I wonder where that change happened and who decided like how that was going to all of a sudden be pushed and implemented like that.
Hmm. Good question. Good
I'm
question.
these I mean this is what we see, this is exactly why we do what we do, chat. Like no joke. This is what we do. We mean AB and all of us that are interested in digging for the truth. This is what we do. We ask questions, man. And this is how we figure it out. And this is how we bring up these shows by doing a whole bunch of research because this shit is fascinating.
Hmm. Now, let me answer. Well, I probably can shed a little light on this. On um, so I'll answer. So the question I'm gonna ask is actually it's not really a question. It will be more or less like why this affects U.S. Treasury without actually banning them. Okay, and so Basel III does not um, does not say that the Treasury are actually unsafe, but it does change the incentives of the treasuries.
Yes, the
So,
incentives
like
used
I
to be
said, they
higher.
have to. These banks now have to hold. Right, right. So, so like for instance, these banks got to hold more capital against the securities. Um, they're less eager to kind of warehouse those long term bonds, just sit there and hold them. You know what I mean? They're more apt to getting them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And not
they're
just
more
sitting on
willing
them.
to sell them. Yeah, they're not willing to
And
hold them for 100 years. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And then then a lot of these banks are going to prefer that these assets don't fluctuate wildly, you know, due to like stress scenarios, stock markets, all of that. So they're gonna start being real particular about how much money they have. They're also gonna be really particular, even more particular, how much money they're gonna let out. So when you go in for um, loans, like big loans, you know, house loans, stuff like that, they're gonna put more red tape before they just give out that money now. You know what I mean? Because um, everything has to be. It's more. It forces the bank to be more structured, more take in and less give out. It's basically what this
And more transparent too.
what this is doing. But it's not, like I said, it's not going to just do it in one spot. This is going to be a global thing. There was what was that other question that I had here that I was going to ask you? Oh, here you go. So the question I was going to ask you before I end up talking right by it. But why do you think gold itself is becoming more important again, like more important than actual silver?
The answer,
even though silver is taking a rise, but why is gold more important?
Well, at this point, because of what the banks have recently classified what gold is. What's the exact nomenclature that they use? I'm gonna go ahead and take a stab. Where they call it like a top tier asset or something like that. And so when they call it a top tier asset, I think that's
Correct.
where the classification is going to go ahead and change.
That's true. They did make it a top tier. The reason why they made gold a top tier and not silver is because you can get gold in more places than you can get silver. So that's why they changed it. Even though silver is going as high as it's going because silver is in lower quantity. You can only get it in certain places at high amounts. Like I said, Mexico is the leader of silver.
Well, not just with so by the way, AB, you're lagging, but you're like 2 seconds behind. You're probably like 3 seconds behind. But yeah, silver, the amount of silver that we actually mine doesn't go to like the consumer amount, like for gold, for instance. Gold, the majority of gold that has ever been mined ever has actually, or is still on the planet today. But silver, not so much because of the amount of use that we have it for. Solar panels, in tech. A lot of silver is actually in our landfills right now, in these garbage fucking chip cards and all this crap from PCs. Yeah, silver is definitely an interesting thing, and now that silver has been reclassified as a critical mineral in the United States, that's also jumped the silver boost, where it's not artificially made in the market of how much silver is actually worth. No, I think silver's been undervalued for decades, and now it's finally reaching to a point where, yes, this is what it actually is worth. And we're still way below what I actually predict. I mean, even Bank of America is already talking about $350 silver. So when Bank of America is already talking about it, that's a hightail sign. So we're looking for a crazy ass bull run right now. Shit, we're lagging. AB, you may want to leave the studio and come back. You may want to, because your internet's like out. But that's the way of the road. He's in the middle of a storm, ladies and gentlemen. So am I, actually, but not too bad. Uh-oh. Let's see. We got you again, I think.
Yeah, this storm is getting crazy over here. Yeah, this storm is crazy over here.
You're good now.
Yeah, so we're gonna hurry up and get this done before I do it again.
Yeah.
I had seen them selling, like we've been buying silver and stuff by the ounce. And I actually seen a place that they were selling silver by the gram.
Oh no, that's terrible. That's crazy. That's a bad sign. That's actually a bad sign.
I actually bought one just to show. You see how small
oh my God,
that is?
No way.
Hold on.
Let me full screen you, dude. That's insane.
That is a gram of silver. That's, I mean, like
I never thought
They're
I never
literally
thought
selling
we'd see
silver
the
by the
day.
gram.
I
Right.
can't believe that shit. That's wild.
Now, if you break this down by the gram, you use. I mean,
What's the premium on that shit?
It's not. Here's the thing: it's not really much by the gram, right? Just a few bucks.
Wow.
But I've seen on different sites that they were selling grams of silver for like $19 and $20 a gram. And people were buying it at 19, 20 bucks a gram. When technically this gram of silver is only worth probably about $3.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, but
A troy ounce is a lot more than
right.
what people think
But
it is.
but here's the thing. People aren't actually sitting there like, okay, how many grams to an ounce? Okay.
31.2, 31.1 in a
Right.
troy ounce.
So if you do your math, then you know, like, hey, y'all getting me. That's not how
Yes.
much this is worth. They
So
don't realize that.
I'm sure there's a lot of scams. I mean, in the beginning of this crazy market, you're going to see a lot of these asshole companies taking advantage of people because they don't know how it breaks down.
Right. Right. But they're literally
It's kind of
going
like
out
when the
there
weed
buying
man
this-
fucks you up. You know, the weed man fucks you up the very first time you buy because you don't understand how it breaks down. you know?
I seen a thing the other day. There was a it's this one site I go on. They do like police auctions and stuff like that. And they had grams of silver on there. And like people were bidding on this gram of silver. And they were bidding 35, 40 bucks. I'm like, did you read that when it said gram? Did you realize what it's saying? You know what I mean?
That's terrible. I didn't think that silver would ever be broken down into the gram. Now, when I saw gram as gold, I understand that to an extent, but I would still, at bare minimum, buy a tenth rather than, just a gram at the bare minimum of for me, at least in gold and understanding how premiums work as well. The lowest you ever want to go is a tenth. You don't want to be going lower than that. I mean, honestly, I don't go lower than a quarter, honestly. That's what I've got, at my lowest for just gold. But because the premiums don't make sense on the long run.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We're gonna turn this down, try to end this on time. But before we go, I wanna kind of end this with this closing. And I wrote this because I needed people to actually understand, like, don't panic, okay? Because the real danger to all this, it isn't China selling the U.S. debt. That's not the danger. The real danger is that the world is slowly building a system that no longer needs the U.S. They're slowly building it. Now, when that happens, then the rules of money, power, and survival changes with everybody if that takes place. So we see all the stuff right now where it's talking about, China dumping debt and, worries me, China dumping debt. Even if they dump the debt, there's still another 8 trillion that's out there. Will it affect you? Yes, it will affect you. It will raise prices. It will raise the interest rates.
Inflation goes up a little bit.
Inflation goes up. It will. That will hurt you in a sense, but it will also bankrupt them.
Yes.
So they're not going to do that, but they are going to do this slow, gradual depletion, because as they deplete over here and they steady growing bricks on this side, they don't need this. And you have all these countries now that's accepting all currency instead of just the dollar as being a dominant currency. That's also going to play a role in this as well. So we're gonna keep our eye on it, just like we've been doing, and as things progress, whether good or bad, we're gonna put it out there. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Because that's the whole part in doing this show
That's the
is to
get
put it out.
down.
Like I said, everybody's gonna have their opinion, and some may agree, some may disagree, but the truth is the truth, whether you want to admit it or not. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Um, Jump on the Facebook, the Dominant Effect group. We put a lot of stuff out on there. Also, hit the QR code at the top there. We do to go on the actual site. We got a lot of merchandise, a lot of good stuff on there. And if you're actually a member, it actually jumps you over into another realm of that website that you see stuff on there that you wouldn't normally be able to get your hands on. But it's a lot of good stuff on there. Before you go, hit that like button. That like button is like gold when it comes.
It is.
Puts the proper algorithm, gets it out to the right amount of people, and gets those views up. The more people that watches this, the more people that sees the stuff that's going on that, like I said, mainstream's not talking about, but we willing to. So that's a great thing. Also, for all you ones that's been watching forever, Rotten Dirty 1 and 2 is finally out. It's finally out on Tubi. Go on there, check it out. Pass it on to your friends, let them check it out. It's actually a pretty good movie. We've been talking about it for a while now, about it actually coming out. And they put part 2 out before they put part 1, and it was all
it was complicated.
Right. But they finally got it together.
Good.
over there in Tubi land. They finally got it together and they released part 1. So go on Tubi, Riding Dirty, part 1 and part 2 is out there. Go on there, check it out, and let us know next week what you thought, how you think the movie was. Also, the movie The Lawful Ones, the series. We did a whole thing over the weekend, and it actually went really, really well. They did their premiere for that. They showed the first 3 episodes. It's a 7-episode miniseries. They showed the first 3. It was a great time. It was a great time to be had. Actually, I got this. I got the baby the baby Grammy.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, I got the baby Grammy award. Yeah, but it was a good time, man. Like I said, we're working on starting Born Protector next. We've been
you're on the move.
Yeah, we've been knee deep in this script trying to work out everything to where there's absolutely no bugs, no kinks. Everything flows the way it's supposed to flow. And I'm telling you, that's going to be a great movie. It's a lot of suspense, plot twists, drama, a little bit of everything that's in it. But that's the next one that we're going to be working on. So before we leave tonight, I'm going to play the trailer for Rotten Dirty.
I got it queued up.
We're also going to play the trailer for The Lawful Ones. I think I have that one on here.
Not that I know of.
Let me see. Did I have that one there? I thought I did. Yes.
I got change of heart.
No, not that one. See the one right beside Riding Dirty?
Yeah, Standing on Business.
Yeah. That's
Okay, so I'll play Riding Dirty first, and then Standing on Business.
Yeah. So Riding Dirty, like I said, is already out on Tubi now, part 1 and part 2, and The Lawful Ones, which used to be Standing on Business, they changed the name.
That's right. I remember you telling me that.
That's supposed to be out at the end of this month. So just stay tuned, and like I said, check those 2 out, and next week let us know what you think.
And I just renamed that file to Lawful Ones because I know that you did tell me that. So anyways, much love, honor, respect, everybody. Thank you all for being here this evening. We all very much appreciate you. Make sure you guys hit that like button, not only on our side, but as well as archbishops over there on the Diamond Effect, man. And listen, again, what AB said, we're not trying to do any type of fear-mongering here. We're just trying to let you guys understand the landscape, and that goes for YouTube too. So we're not doing any type of fear-mongering. We're just letting people know exactly where we stand. And I can't thank you enough, AB, for organizing this, as always. And listen, we're going to be rating my buddy on my side. We're going to be rating Chris Lestrange here at the end. Make sure you guys let him know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. And until 7 days, much love, honor, respect. God bless everyone, and enjoy these trailers.
Fucking Mateo. And I'd say I was excited to see you, but really, I'm just glad that your dumb ass doubled the bet to 100,000.
Y'all give it up for the infamous dog!
Hey man, we ready for this fight scene, man. What we doing?
Shark! Two-Tone! TKO!
Fuck you get this from?
One of the TDR. After I shot him.
Any sudden move this motherfucker makes, do not hesitate.
What y'all talking about over there? Y'all talking about fucking each other's lives right now?
Get off the fucking bike, shut the fuck up, and get on your knees. Look what we have here. A bloody knife.
You got your brother at his safe house, ready for him to testify.
Fuck. This gotta be handled.
A fucking President B-Mac sitting in fucking jail.
So what the fuck we doing about getting them out?
What'd you say to me?
All this ends now. No more bodies, no more hunting. You got beaten your own game, so own it and move the fuck on.
Well, one of my girlfriends told me they saw them hanging out. You are fucking the competition.
Bitch ass nigga!
I did it for her.
What did you do, Naya?
Mom is not responding or moving.
Hey yo, Pluto, you going brazen?
I have at 3 o'clock, so convention is stay.
Sounds like he's involved in some really serious stuff.
What's up?
I know you got a plan.
You already know.
No, we good for it.
Fuck! Fuck this!
When B-Mac was out, this will never happen.
Don't you speak on fucking club business, you T-Mac name out your fucking mouth, you understand me?
I left your key right where you told me. I'm just hoping you don't let me down.
Morning, everyone. Everyone look all rested and relaxed. But, you know who's not relaxed right now? The fucking governor.
Hello, man. So you said to come out here with no assistance, no security, so why are we here?
Look, I promised your father to get you into the office, and I lived up to that, right?
Yes, sir, you did.
Your father also promised me that my product would be in safe hands. You already know how that went.
Hey, yo, Papa. Show the man what he want to see, bro. I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
Get over here now! Get the fuck out! Get to the chair right now!
Listen,
Okay, I'm listening.
I didn't want to say anything in front of the others.
Pissed off the wrong people, motherfucker!
After comparing the last few hits with the last time, I think they've been hit by some professionals.
Bro, I'm not here kind of right now. I ain't got time for your shit this morning, Sierra.
Think you couldn't wait after we talked before you did this?
This is how I do it.
You do realize they caught that motherfucker red-handed, right?
I don't give a fuck what you believe. Good enough I came here to talk to you. Even without my rep being present, Mama Dad.
What's in the bag?
Fuck out of the car, Kelly. I said get the fuck out of the car. Nobody playing with your ass, man.
Fuck you!
Calm down. Calm the fuck Down.
I don't know what's in my bag.
I need to cash in on one of those favors you owe me.
Sir, I've been here for 18 years. I've never seen nothing like this.
Fuck, they found you, didn't they? Fucking coming for me. They're coming for me.
Time for the Moscow manicure! What the fuck is wrong with you? You're supposed to be the one I can trust.
Think we can trust his ass?
Look, that motherfucker's life is on the line just like ours is.
So, what is it, Amelia?
Nigga, tighten up! Hurry up! Nigga, this is a robbery! Man, bitch, help me!
Look, Lieutenant. Then why the fucking cartel is sending us fucking cards with your fucking name on it?
We're working for the cartel.
What the fuck? Bitch, what?
Keeping it real about it. Looking for something that's real.
You know, standing on business.
Just keeping it real. Fuck. Hell no. I'm just keeping it real. So I bought the windows clear, but I need them tinted yet.
Yo,
with 24
we need to meet.
inch rims, but I ain't even finished yet.
Now.
Feel like I'm almost here, so I ain't tripping.